So it feels like everywhere you look online, you're seeing all these stories. How I made 500 million, how I made 50 million, how I got rich. There's countless amounts of stories out there. And so I felt like it was time for me to tell the internet and tell you guys watching my videos how I've been able to make millions in my 20s, the business model, how I did it, my story, and I guess if you were to replicate that, my best idea of how you could do it as well. Because I'm a believer that there are systems and processes that people can follow and model to get their own success, to become rich, to become wealthy. And now, while there are all these different systems, each business is different for everybody, and each pathway is a little bit different. And so what may work for me may not work for you, but I'll do my best of giving it all to you guys, so that way you yourself can become rich like I did. So that being said, it all started when I was 18 years old. You see, when I was 18, I was in college. I was going to school for computer science. I was trying to find the best paying job that was out there that was possible, of ultimately getting rich. I was hoping to become a millionaire maybe in my 30s, probably more likely in my 40s, and be able to have a nice house, have a nice apartment maybe, have a cute girl by my side, and have a nice car. It was really like kind of my checklist that I created as an 18-year-old boy, because I loved cars, thought cars were cool, and I wanted to enjoy my life. You know, I saw my parents go through a lot. I saw them try building a business, and I knew that that was risky because I saw them lose everything when the economy changed. And I saw the impact and toll that it took on my own family, with me being, I think I was 8 years old at the time, and my sisters, you know, they were younger than me as well, and seeing the change and the impact that it had on everybody in my family. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't want to be in this position when I'm older. I want to make sure that I am in a place that I'm able to set my kids up for success, but then me, myself, I'm able to enjoy my life, not feeling like I'm behind my entire life. So college was the path. I went to school for computer science, and I started doing that. So that being said, I was able to get a little bit ahead in some of my classes, and I was able to take sophomore and junior classes my freshman year of college. I was able to convince my college professors actually that I didn't need to take the basic classes, and it worked. And then they ended up putting me in the advanced classes. So I went through that entire semester, ended up getting like some decent grades. I ended up failing calculus, but besides that, I did pretty decent my semester, the year of college. And I knew that I needed to get an internship, because I knew that most of what was going to get me to making 150K a year salary wasn't going to be just getting the degree and just getting good grades. I knew that it was connections, I knew that it was experience, and I knew that it was being marketable to employers ultimately. And so I hunted down, I think I called 20 different companies to do an internship for computer science after that freshman year, and no one took me serious. I don't know if I just didn't know how to reach out to people or what it was, but I wasn't able to get an internship that summer. And my dad did sales in his entire life, so I remember on that long drive home asking my dad, hey, what's up with the sales job? Like, can I do a sales job this summer? And he kind of was like hinting at it, like as a backup plan. He's like, yeah, I'll help you do it. My mom didn't want me to do a sales job at the time. She's like, I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to go into people's houses, because she knew some of the stories that my dad had of people like pulling guns on him, like inside of people's houses, selling. And I said, you know what? I want to do it. And my dad's like, okay, this is how you do it. And he told me one thing. This one thing shaped the entire direction of my entire life. And what's interesting is, like, sometimes the people that are closest to you can have the best wisdom. And my dad told me, son, the trick to getting more sales and becoming the best salesperson, because he's trained up like so many salespeople this time, hundreds of people, and then he's done sales for 20 years. The trick is if you don't know what you're doing and you want to get a lot of sales, it's to be excited. Be excited about life. to be excited about what you're doing, to be excited that you get to have a job. Doesn't matter what you're excited about, but just having excitement. I was like, wow, that's not the sales advice that I was expecting. I was expecting him to tell me like what to say when they say no or something like that, or how to get people to answer the door when I knock on the door, or how to get people to do something inside of the like that makes them buy. Like I was expecting something like that, and he told me you need to act even if you're not actually excited. You need to be excited. Like find a way, find something to be excited about. And so I was like, okay, interesting. He's like, because you're like, I can tell you all sorts of stuff, but it's not going to matter. You haven't been inside of someone's house yet. You haven't tried selling anything yet. But if you act excited, everything will work out. So I took his advice to heart. I ended up getting the job. He was able to get me connected with a company that did door-to-door sales, and he was able to get me the job. And I remember the first few days of being on the job, I was able to shadow somebody else, and I was watching these people that would do it, and I noticed actually, because he gave me that advice, everybody was acting like, not acting, but everybody found something to be excited, like have energy. Like they always listened to music before they went into the house. They're always working on how they felt every single day, and what were the things that made the other person that they were talking to feel good, essentially. And so I watched people get a bunch of sales, and I was like, wow, I can do this myself. And I ended up, I think that first week, I ended up getting 2 sales. And the sale for that company was, I think the commission was like $300, $400. And I got 2 sales, and I made $600 in a week, $700 a week. And I thought, wow, if I can get a sale every single day, that's going to be like $1,500 a week. That's $6,000 a month. Being a complete beginner, if I can get 10 sales a week, then that's like $12,000 a month. So I realized that energy was everything. And I started to realize as well that if you do the math, it becomes pretty black and white what you need to do to get the outcome. You need to keep those 2 things in mind. Maybe write it down in your notepad, maybe make a mental note. So those 2 things, doing the math and having the energy. So while I was at the job, like, and what I'm telling you guys that made me millions in my 20s is not sales, but I was working this job, and there was this guy that I was working with, and he gave me this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad at the time. He said, read this book and come back to me and tell me what you think. I was like, okay. And so I read this book. I thumbed through it, and I read it in a span of like one night. I think I literally just sat down and I just binged through this entire book. Just read every single page one night, just sat down and read through the entire book. And the one thing that I pulled away from this book to add on to this mindset is he always talked about assets and liabilities. Liabilities are things that cost you money and depreciate your net worth, and assets are the things that increase your net worth and go up in value every single year. So a house, as an example, is an asset. When you own it, it goes up in value every single year usually. Stocks, they go up in value. They make money for you. Cars, most cars, if you buy a regular car, BMW, brand new, off of the dealership, off the lot, you're losing money immediately. And year over year, the car depreciates and you actually lose money with the car. So that's a liability. And so I learned the difference of assets and liabilities. So I learned that energy is what gets transactions. I learned that you need to have assets and liabilities. And I learned that you can control your income if you do the math. If you just do the math, you can make any amount of money. So if you want to make more money, you just got to do the math. Ask yourself, okay, if I want to make $30,000 a month, what's the math? Okay, so now that you guys understand these basic principles that I was able to learn at a young age, I was 18 at the time, then I realized that I needed to build a business. Because if I was to go work a job, maybe I can get a good salary out of college, but I'm going to be limited on how much money I can make. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. It doesn't matter how skillful you get. Your income is always capped based off of what your boss wants to pay you. The amount of money that you can make is always capped based off of what the marketplace is willing to pay and what your boss ultimately gives you an approval of for your salary. Maybe you can hit bonuses. Maybe there's some incentives that are inside of in your career. But ultimately it's up to people above you to decide how much money you make. Versus there's other, on the flip side, if you're self-employed, if you're a contractor, if you're doing sales, if you own a company, if you have, let's say, a YouTube channel, for example, you're able to make as much money as you want, as long as there's infinite scale in these things. Now, sales specifically, one-to-one, there's only so many appointments you can take. Obviously, you can get better and get better at closing sales, but then, you can then create your own company. You can have people selling for you. And then how much money you make depends on how your ability to hire, manage, and scale the business. And so I realized that working a job is not the solution. I was 18, 19 years old at the time, and I realized that I was going to school, getting this degree that was costing me like probably 80 grand, I think, is how much it was going to cost me by the end of all of it. All to get a job that most of the money is immediately taken out in taxes, and then on top of that, you're capped based off of what the marketplace wants to pay you and how good you can basically kiss ass is the formula, essentially. How well you can play the game. And I talk to some people now these days, and they have 3 jobs, and so they have 3 6-figure salaries, and then so they're able to make $300K a year because they have like 3 different jobs, because they're able to kind of game the system. But now you have to like text your boss that you're taking a shit on Microsoft Teams, and so they've gotten pretty smart about being able to just work multiple different jobs all at the same time. So anyways, I realized that I needed to figure something out. So I tried all sorts of different business models. There were some that kind of worked, but nothing that really hit a home run immediately. I tried drop shipping. I'm doing e-commerce. I tried doing real estate wholesaling. I was able to make like $50,000, $60,000 doing real estate wholesaling, but I ended up like breaking even over time because I didn't know how to run a business. I was pretty young at the time. But then also, it's just like there's just so much that goes involved into it. You're worried about marketing. You're worried about trying to find people that have money to flip the houses. There's just a lot of variables that go into it. And then I stumbled across making YouTube videos. So when I had the real estate business of flipping houses, I started making YouTube videos about it. And I would just make a couple videos. I would record a video. I would explain what I did to make money. And then I'd post it. I would upload it out into the abyss. Didn't think much of it. But then the videos would get like 100 views. And I was like, damn, 100 people give a shit about what I'm talking about. And so I'd keep making more videos. And then eventually it got to a point where like every video I'd upload, like 1,000 people would watch my videos. And then they would ask me like, oh, Devin, what softwares are you using for this? And I was like, oh, okay, here's the link for it. Like, and I found out that they had like an affiliate program. So I just copy and paste that, threw that in there. And then boom, I was making $1,000 a month just off of making these videos and just posting the links from it. And then I was able to turn on AdSense with YouTube. And before you know it, after making 100 so odd videos, I was making a couple grand a month, a few grand a month. And the real estate business was super up and down. There was highs and lows. Like there were some times where I was able to make 20 grand in a month, and then I didn't make anything for like 4 or 5 months. Versus YouTube, every single month I was starting to get paid a couple grand, 3 grand, 4 grand a month. And I was like, this was able to pay for my bills. It was able to pay for my rent. It was able to pay for groceries and food and everything that I needed to live. And so I really started thinking, I'm like, I need more income streams like this. I need something digitally, because it didn't require me to be in person anywhere. I didn't have to go to a title company to go flip the house. I didn't have to do this weird stuff in person. I didn't have to make sales calls all day. And I was able to make money when I was sleeping. Like I'd wake up in the morning and I'd make like $50. I was like, while I was sleeping, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And so I realized that there was something there. And that's when I stumbled across faceless YouTube channels. I was watching some of these videos. I just watch all sorts of YouTube at a certain point. I would watch everything. All the brain rot, all the stupid shit that you see, I was watching everything. It was just, I don't know, it was what I would do on my downtime. And one day I was watching these videos, and I was like, these aren't that complicated of pieces of content. Ultimately, they were pretty simple videos that didn't look like there was a whole lot of effort that went into them. And I knew that because I made a bunch of videos on my own channel, and they were getting like hundreds of thousands of views. I was getting 1,000 views a video, and I did the math. And these channels were making like $20,000-$30,000 a month, not uploading anything all that quality. Like I was like, I could do this. This isn't anything like that wild or crazy. And all the while, to tell you guys the truth, I was starting to there was a point where I was kind of like, I was making money, but I was stuck. I was really stuck at $3,000-$4,000 a month. Like, I was tired of like the ups and downs of my real estate business and what I was able to do there. And I realized that I needed to make a change. So I decided to commit to this. And this is a goal, like this is the big thing I wanted to share inside of you guys, with you guys inside of this video. Because everybody learns through stories. You guys don't learn from like the checklist help, the steps help, and stuff like that. But how you guys are really going to become millionaires, and what I realized is by hearing stories. What made me a lot of my money is like hearing stories and hearing that there was hope and that there was possibility of doing things, and just deriving the patterns that I recognized in people's lives. The pattern for you guys is that it took me to lock the fuck in, as corny as that sounds, is I locked in. I decided that for the span of 30 days, I was going to make a video every single day on one of about these videos that I saw online. If it works, awesome. I found a new way to get rich and make a ton of money. And if it doesn't work, okay, cool. I tried something. I tried something new, and I gave it a solid shot. You see, a lot of times when I started businesses in the past, I would do it for a week or two, but then I was inconsistent ultimately for like the whole month. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this for 30 days. Every single day, I'm gonna upload a video. If it crushes, awesome, I'm rich. If it doesn't, that's okay. We can move on. I can go try something else. Maybe this isn't the way that I'm supposed to be making money. And so I did it. Every single day, I uploaded a video. Some days it took me 16 hours to make a video. I would literally lay there 16 hours making a video, and I would upload it. And then after around day 4, day 5, I started to get some views. I was like, oh, cool. I'm getting like 100 views a video, 500 views a video. One day I woke up and I had 1,000 views on my YouTube channel. And then the next day, 4,000. Oh, cool. Wow, that's awesome. That was more views than I was getting on my other YouTube channel after doing it for like a year. And then I got to where I got like 10,000 views in a day, then 30,000, then 100,000, then 400,000. Then I hit 1 million views in a single day. There I was, 19 years old at the time. Dropped out of college. Tried all these different businesses. Failed a bunch of them. Was kind of a weirdo at the time. Making videos. No one knew that I was behind them. And I hit 1 million views in a single day. And for the context for you guys, they were, at the time there, I was making, like, I would just go on Reddit threads, take the weird shit people would say on Reddit, and then turn it into a video. I would just use a text-to-speech to read off the videos. Boom. That was $3,000 in a single day that I made. I wasn't monetized yet, but it was like, theoretically I made $3,000. I was like, okay, let's keep going. And then I was able to get monetized. It happened pretty quick in like a couple days. And then I ended up making like $5,000 in like 2 days. I was like, this is crazy. Like I was making $3-4 a month. And then this, I was like, I made $5,000 in like 2 days. At my home, on my laptop. I could do this anywhere in the world as long as I had an internet connection. I was kind of free before, as in like I was starting to make some money doing the real estate stuff. But I was like free. I could literally do whatever the fuck I wanted now at this point. Like I didn't have to be anywhere. I didn't have to clock in to anybody. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I didn't have to pick up my phone to talk to anybody. I was set. There I was, 19 years old. I was set. And so I leaned into it. And then what happened was after another few days, I wasn't making any money anymore. You see, my channel got demonetized. YouTube told me that this was like easily mass-produced content. We ruled that you're not able to get monetized. And there I was. I made $5,000 in like a couple days. I think I made a total of like $9,000 or so. And here I was. That was it. I just made $9,000 that month. But with no money being made again. But you see, what I realized though is if I can do that once, I can do it again. 2 weeks of grinding to make $9,000. That's not bad. Like that's a start. Like especially if this is something that's new, like that's a start. And so I was like, okay, it's time to go. So I did 2 channels this time. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll do 2. So every day I would make like 2 videos instead of just 1. And so I got it down to where I can make the videos in like 45 minutes, an hour. So 2 hours out of my day, I'd make some videos and I'd upload them. And lo and behold, 45 days later, I was getting millions of views every single day. And then I figured out how to get my channels remonetized. So just blown up YouTube, like, hey, please, like, let me monetize this. They turned monetization back on, and then I was making money. And then I made, it was like something like 14,000, 15,000. And then the next month I made $42,000 in a single month. There I was, 19 years old, $42,000 in a single month, dropped out of college, pursuing some belief that I thought was like, you know, like everyone thought I was crazy. And then there I was, I made $42,000 in a single month. That was more than like most people make in like an entire year. And I made it in a single month. So what did I do? I ended up traveling. I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. I was living in the middle of Idaho, outside of Boise, small town, honestly. And I was like, I'm out. I need to go somewhere. So what did I do? I went to LA, met some people that online that were like making YouTube channels as well, made a bunch of friends out there. And then I went to Arizona for a bit, out to like this penthouse with this guy, and we ended up building a bunch of more YouTube channels together. And then I made some friends, and they invited me to go to Indonesia. Like I've never even, like I left the country once to go on a family trip to Costa Rica. And then I went to Indonesia with some people that I just met. Here I was, 19 years old, Indonesia, making tens of thousands of dollars every single month from my laptop. I was living the dream life. There's a helicopter flying over. But that goes to show you like how quickly things can change. That goes to show you how fast, like if you just lock in, how fast your life can change. How fast you can be able to go live all of this life. It happens suddenly. It's not something that happens over the span of months or the span of years. It happens suddenly. The result happens immediately once everything unlocks. And that's the thing about this, about making money and trying to make more and to grow, is that usually we get stuck on some sort of plateau. Usually we reach some sort of point where we start seeing some success, but then we get stuck there for a period of time. Now we got 3 helicopters flying over. So we'll pause the video and we'll get back on in a second. All right, so I'm out here in California. I'm not too far from like a big military base, but out here in some beautiful wine country though. Avocado trees like everywhere out here. So there I was making tons of money, 19 years old. And then by the time I turned 20, I made over like $250,000. And I was gonna get paid that much after like a decade of working in corporate 9 to 5. Here I was, dropped out of college, followed this belief that I had that I can get rich and do whatever it is that I wanted. And I was making millions of dollars. Like I was making hundreds of thousands at the time. So I kept following that, and then I ended up like a year later, I hit $70,000 in a single month. Basically, I just kind of kept running the channels, trying different things out, getting other people to make the videos for me. And then we were able to scale it up to where we hit 70 grand in a single month. I had made it. I was in my I just turned 20, and I figured out how to make tens of thousands of dollars every single month. I was pretty close to being on pace to hitting $1 million a month, or $1 million a year. And all this to say that if we recap, to bring it all back, to tie it all back into how we got here, is that first of all, is that it's energy. What got me those videos was the excitement of like, this is a new opportunity and it's something to do and it's leaning into it. And just putting that into making the videos. The videos that I was making, it was like, I was making them because I wanted people to enjoy what I was watching. I wanted people to enjoy the content. I wanted people to, like, I enjoyed watching these videos myself. And so I wanted to make them better than what everybody else is making it. And I knew that it made me feel things. When I was making the videos, when it made me feel things, I knew it was a good piece of content. And so if you can, whatever it is that you do, put energy into it. Put excitement into it. Listen to a song. See how it makes you feel. Sometimes some songs make you hype. Some songs make you want to cry. Some songs make you introspective and think about things. Everything makes you feel something different. Everything is energy around you. And so you need to figure out what is it that is feeling and emotions, because that's ultimately what the conversion comes from. Like you watching this video, you're feeling something right now. hopefully you're not bored, but hopefully you're like, oh shit, this is like this random dude with long hair, like he figured it out. I can too. That's feelings. Those are emotions. The second thing is I did the math. I asked myself, what is it that would make me 10 grand a month? I just wanted to make 10 grand a month. That was like my original goal. So I did the math with YouTube. If you get about 2 million views a month, you're hitting it with a $5. If you're getting paid $5 per 1,000 views, which is pretty average. If you get 2 million views a month, you're making 10 grand a month. If you get 2 million views a day, you're making 10 grand a day. So if you want to make 300 grand a month, there you go. Do the math. The third thing is, how do you become an owner and not a renter? Renting is fine if you have things that are bringing in income for you that are assets. But if you're working a job, you can't, and you don't have any assets, you're trading your time for money. And as long as you're trading your time for money, there is no amount of trading your time for money that is going to prevent you from, if something happens to you, you lose your job, you get sick, something God forbid happens to you, you have a big reset, and then now you have to work backwards, and now you don't have money working for you. So you need to become an owner. You need to have an owner mindset. You're not going to make millions of dollars a year being a renter unless you go work your way up the corporate ladder for like 30 years and then get into the prime of your life and where you can start finally making some money. Like my father, my dad, he was always like, he was able to kind of be an owner at one point, and then things happened, like he kind of gave up on that, and then he bounced around a bunch of different jobs, and then now he's at the prime of his life. Now he's able to make a ton of money. But it wasn't like until like a few years ago. It wasn't until he's like worked in corporate America for like 20 years that he was able to finally figure out a good way to be in a good position to make a ton of money in the corporate life. It's like you have to work your way up there. And so seeing the resets of like, my grandfather working at a job and losing jobs, and then all of a sudden there it goes. Now they don't have the money to be able to do things because they got bought out by a different company or whatever it is. And I was realizing that you cannot scale up your life. You can't go do cool shit if you're always trading your time for money, because as soon as you leave, you're not making money anymore. And so you need a way that you're always making money and you're in control of your income. Okay. And then the next thing is, I saw an opportunity, and instead of being like, oh, is this going to happen like everything else, instead I gave myself 30 days. I locked in for 30 days. Whether it's 60 days, 90 days, you need a season. You need to know what season that you're in. Are you in a season of sprinting, or are you in a season of reflecting, or are you in a season of maintaining? And you have to ask yourself, what season are you in? You see, most of my success now at this point is in a season of maintenance. It's in a season of holding up what has made me become successful, and just doing that every single day. So I get to kind of screw around a little bit more. I get to enjoy my day. I get to have a glass of wine. I get to go get some coffee in the morning at 10 a.m. I get to get on a bunch of meetings on the phone and just kind of screw around. I get to make these videos and do these for fun. And I do these, and I'm doing the things that keep growth consistent, but I'm not in a have to get like a 30-day sprint. I'll go in and out though. Some days I'll go crazy for 30 days, 60 days, and then I'll kind of go enjoy my life a little bit. And then I'll go crazy for 30, 60 days, and I'll enjoy my life a bit. And it's kind of constantly going back and forth between these different seasons. You need to go in a season of grind. You need to go in a season of locking in to get to that next level. Every time you want to get to the next level, you need to lock in, go grind, and then figure out how to break it. And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't happen out, maybe it wasn't meant to be for a little bit. Take a break for like a couple weeks and then get back into it. Go lock in for 30 days, take a break for a couple weeks. Go lock in for 30 days, take a break for a couple weeks. And then you need to find somebody else that's already doing what you want to do. Because if you're trying to just pull money out of thin air, it's not going to work. You need to find a way that other people are doing exactly what you want to do, and just do that. So if somebody else is making 30 grand a month, you need to follow what other people are doing. Like, you need to just use that as your blueprint. Instead of trying to get creative, just follow the person that's making 30 grand a month. No reason to get creative on how to make 30 grand a month. Just find somebody else that's doing it, somebody that's already making 30 grand a month, and just do what they're doing. That's all I did. I found somebody that was doing it, and I just did it better than they did. And I made more money than they did. I wasn't the first person to do it. They were. And I just followed the blueprint. Okay, so there you go. That's my story. That's the business model. Okay, so how does it work now? Because this was like a good amount of years ago. This was 7 years ago now that this all happened. I'm 26 now, turning 27 in a few months. And so I've been able to kind of ride the success for a pretty good amount of time, get it to where I'm able to make 6 figures a month pretty consistently. And pretty consistently, I've made 6 figures a month for the past year and a half now. And yeah, and now I'm trying to get to where I'm making millions of dollars a month. That's kind of the next mission that I'm on now. So I've helped hundreds of people build their own faceless YouTube channels. And I have ran lots of different channels over the years. YouTube's changed a lot over the years. There's been different policies that have changed. There's different ways that you can build faceless YouTube channels. I'm going to give you what's like the tried and true, like I've seen people do it for a decade and it works method, rather than the like, okay, overnight, just like here's something that just popped up to go jump onto it. How I made the Reddit videos, made a ton of money with that, is it was something that I saw that was working right then and there, and then I just followed what they were doing there. Now, that being said, you might be able to find those things. If you're finding somebody making like skibbity toilet videos or something like that, you can go do that, follow that, probably make a bunch of money overnight. One of them right now is like the Diddy situation. Like he's going to court right now. You can make a bunch of videos off that. You can't do that for decades, but it's a strategy that works right now. So the strategy that's tried and true, whether you watch this today or a decade from now, and how I'm making most of my money now these days and how I'm going to make tens of millions of dollars, is through doing what I call branded YouTube channels. So this is a strategy that I found to be like the most evergreen strategy. Now this isn't going to make you like 30K a month like overnight. If you do it for like 3 to 6 months, you'll have success. If you want the money, quick money, if you want fast money, what it boils down to is you need to find opportunities of people making 30K a month pretty much overnight. Right now, there's a lot of opportunities in like AI stories. Like this dates this video if I talk about this stuff, but I'll give it to you guys. You can make videos on like AI stories. I have some students that are making 20, 30 grand a month doing that. Anything that's like with AI, that's storytelling, where you can put out like 3 videos a day, because when you have just shit tons of content going out, you're able to have a lot more room for error. When I was doing the Reddit videos, I was posting twice a day, so I had like lots of room for error. I knew what was working. I had a fast feedback loop. Instead of uploading 1 video a week, I could do it twice a day. So I knew what was working and what wasn't working. Does that take work? Yeah, it takes work. Like, are you allergic to money? Like, do you want to not work to make money? I worked my ass off when I was making money. When I got to 40 grand a month, I was working my ass off. Now, I wasn't working 4 jobs, a lot of work, but it was like I was working my ass off. Like the first week, I think I was putting in like 10, 12 hours a day. And then I was able to get it down to where it was like 4 to 6 hours a day, even a little bit less some days, of how much work that I was putting in. So you're going to have to work pretty hard for a little bit, and then you're able to kind of coast once you have everything down, once you have the systems, once you kind of figure things out. So at first you need to lock the fuck in. You need to go put in like 10 hours on scrolling on YouTube. Like if you literally just scroll YouTube for like 10 hours, you'll find all sorts of shit. If you just look for videos that are getting like hundreds of thousands, millions of views that they just started doing like a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, you'll find shit. The issue is most people, they won't sit there. They'll get bored. They stop doing things. Let yourself go down that crazy rabbit hole. Go watch every video. Go look at the results. Look at the views, and then ask yourself, can I make this? And be very detached. If you just put 10 hours into like looking for videos, you'll find shit that's making money. No matter what you're doing. Like if you put in, I think the statistic is if you put in like 20 hours, you'll know like 80% of the knowledge on anything that you're doing. If you put in 20 hours into YouTube of just scrolling, like intentional 20 hours, you do that over the span of like a week, you'll know all the opportunities of making money. You see, I was able to find this opportunity of like these Reddit videos at the time, because trends change, what's working changes. I was able to find this trend because I was just on YouTube all day. I was scrolling all day, and I was starting to make money, and I was starting to like be like, dude, I want to get rich. And then I came across these channels, and I started doing it. So if you just do that, put in 10, 20 hours into this, you'll find it. You'll find opportunities that are working. You see, most people won't do that. Naval Ravikant talks about you want to find the thing that looks like play to you, but looks like pleasure to others, or looks like play to you, but it looks like work to others. Doing research on YouTube for 20 hours, that looks like work to other people. They'll watch a few YouTube videos, but sit there through all the brain rot and all the scrolling for 20 hours. That's like, people are like, oh my gosh, like how do you do that? So you want to, like, that's one of those things where it's like, it looks like work to others, to be honest. If you can just sit there, do the work, you'll find a way. Cool. And then the next thing you want to do is just figure out how to make the videos. The strategy okay, so that's the way of finding how to make the 30K a month opportunities. If you guys have any questions on that, drop in the comments. I'll answer it down below. I want to hook you guys up in this video. I want to give it to you guys all. I have no course to sell. I don't want you guys to give me any money in this video specifically. I want you guys to go get rich, and then you guys will give me money afterwards. After you guys get rich. So, if you want the more like tried and true strategy, this is what it is. It's explainer videos. It's like making scripted videos on some sort of topic. How houses were built in Rome. Writing a script on that. Doing research. Figuring out how the fuck were houses built in Rome. Doing a voiceover of it. You can use 11 Labs. Your own voice. You can hire somebody off of Upwork or Fiverr. And then you edit the video. You find clips, images, videos from like all these different websites, YouTube, Google, archive.org, Storyblocks, depending on which niche you're doing, Twitter. And you're making a video with all these clips that you find online. Then the trick is that if you explain something and you're showing clips for the sake of explaining a subject, it's fair use, the content. And so if you can make videos that millions of people want to see, like that's a viral video right there, how houses were built in Rome, you'll make a ton of money. What farming was like in ancient Rome. There you go, there's another viral video. I'm giving you guys like bangers inside of here. You guys can go make those videos. If you make it good, you'll get millions of views if the video's good. If the video's actually good. If it's not good, you'll probably get like 100 views. And so, how do you know that the videos are good, Devin? Glad you asked. How do you know the videos are good is go look up what drugs were like in ancient Rome, what hygiene was like in ancient Rome, what pregnancy was like in ancient Rome. Go watch those videos, remake them for houses, remake it for farming. That's it. Now, see, most people, they think they got to be creative. They think they got to do something new. They think they got to like create something that isn't out there right now. I'm telling you straight up what it is that's going to get you. It's just copy. Like, go find what's working. Okay, so the thing is, you want to stand on the shoulders of giants. If someone already figured out how to make a car, why are you trying to redesign how a car works? Instead, go find the person that made a car and just rebuild it. It's like a UFO landed. Take apart the UFO and then rebuild the UFO. If a car fell apart, or like if you found a car, take apart the car, put the car back together before you make your own car. If you don't know how cars work, you're never going to invent a car. You're going to be like coming trying to pull shit out of thin air that just isn't like, you're not going to know what to do. So a YouTube video. Take someone's YouTube video, download it, remake it, and then now you know how to make a YouTube video. And then you just talk about some other subject. You write the script, you write the talking points, you voice act it, you pick the music for the video, you find the fonts, you find the clips, you find the images. Now you know how to make a YouTube video. Then you just keep doing it over and over again. Try to figure out how you can get 10 videos up a month. Try to figure out how you can get 10 videos up a week. And then before you know it, once you build systems, and we have other people making the videos for you, if you can hire them off of Upwork, then you're able to make $1,000 a month. Then you're able to make $5,000 a month. Then you're able to make $10,000 a month. You see, is this a lot of work? Yeah. But you're making 30 grand a month, bro. You're making 50 grand a month, bro. You're making 100 grand a month, bro. How's your life going to change? How much is your life actually going to change if you do the work? You see, most people, they're trying to find the easiest way. They're looking how to make money online easy. Bro, stop looking up the ways to make money easy. Just do the fucking work. Then you never have to do the work ever again in your life. Then you never have to, you get to choose what you do every single day. You get to choose if you want to work more or not. But you see, most people, they would rather eat the cake today and deal with the consequences of being fat later. It's like that science experiment with the 2 marshmallows. Like, you get 1 marshmallow now, if you wait, you get 2 marshmallows. You see, most people are selfish in the short term. They would rather fuck around. They'd rather play GTA. They'd rather go scroll through TikTok because it feels good. It feels like you're making progress in life. You get all this dopamine. But if you just lock in for fucking 3 months, 6 months, a year, your life is gonna change. You're gonna do whatever you want. That's the real thing. Is that I was willing to do the work. I was willing to put in the hours that was needed to get me the outcome. That's what separates me from everybody else. Like, there's no fucking scrolling. There's no other YouTube video you gotta watch. It's that. It's just find a way that people are making money and do that shit. I get really heated about this sometimes because it's so black and white obvious, yet most people don't do it. And it's like, and when I make these videos, I make them for my younger self of like, just do the work, quit looking for the easy shortcuts, just do the thing that you need to do and the outcome will come. Okay. So my goal inside of this video is more so I put the information out, I react to the comments and go into the comments and try to answer everything that I can, because I know that I can put some sort of information, but I can only reciprocate the best information you guys in the comments as far as like how to answer explicitly what you guys want. Go write a paragraph, write a whole book down there. I'll try to answer every question that you guys have. I want to give you guys as much value in this video. Like, I know I gave you a bunch of beliefs and lots of mindset of like how I became a millionaire in my 20s. And I'm literally trying to give it all to you guys. I don't want like you guys have to buy shit from me to get rich. If you want to, cool, but it's like, I don't need you guys to do that. I need you guys to instead just take what I give you and run with it. I want you to get rich. I want you to be able to have cool Airbnbs like this and go travel the world and do whatever it is that you want. I want you to live the dream life. I want you to be able to look at your avocado farm and think that wow, I really made it. I get to have avocados as much as I want. So, here, let me see if I can show you guys the view. Let's see. It kind of comes through. Here you go. And then like with this view right here. The lighting wasn't the best if I made it this way, so I figured the lighting would be better. But that's what I got for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comments down below. I'm rooting for you. I think you're capable of like if you're watching this video and you're at this point, you're definitely capable of doing it. You're one of those crazy people. So yeah, that's what I got. I don't know how else to portray it. I think online I'm like portrayed as like a bad guy in a lot of ways. I really just want to see you guys get rich as much as possible, because that's what I was looking for when I was in your position, in your shoes. And I felt very alone and very isolated. You know, you see all these people making money online, and even more so, it's even more prevalent now than ever before. And I want you to be able to be that person that's able to command whatever income that you want, to be able to live whatever life that you want, and to get what you deserve ultimately. So that's what I got. I appreciate you guys. Smash the subscribe button. Broke 10,000 subscribers, which is incredible. Next goal is hit 100,000, and let's keep making this happen. So thanks for being a part of the journey. Thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for sharing this video. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.